Some people chase money. Others seem to keep finding it. Not in a random, lucky way, but in a pattern that repeats. Different industries, different environments, different starting points, yet somehow, they keep creating opportunities that turn into income. And that raises a deeper question. Why do some individuals consistently find ways to get rich, while others with similar skills or resources don't? The difference is rarely just intelligence or effort. It's psychological. It's how they see, think, and respond to the same world everyone else is in. There's a certain kind of person who doesn't just look for jobs, they look for leverage. While most people focus on earning through time, these individuals focus on multiplying outcomes. They are not necessarily working more hours. They are structuring their actions differently. And that difference begins at the level of perception. They don't see money as something to chase. They see it as something that flows through systems. And once you understand systems, you stop asking, how do I earn more? And start asking, where does value already exist, and how can I position myself around it? At its core, this pattern is driven by opportunity recognition. Most people see what is visible: products, prices, roles, outcomes. But individuals who consistently create wealth tend to look at gaps. They notice inefficiencies, unmet needs, and overlooked connections. Where others see a finished structure, they see missing pieces. This is not luck, it is trained perception. The brain becomes conditioned to scan for potential rather than just reality. This creates a key trait: cognitive flexibility. They are not locked into one way of thinking about value. They can shift perspectives quickly: consumer, creator, investor, intermediary. This allows them to see multiple paths within the same situation. While others focus on one role, they explore how roles interact. And in that interaction, they find leverage. Another important factor is their relationship with risk. Contrary to popular belief, people who consistently build wealth are not reckless. They are calculated. They understand that risk is not something to avoid completely, but something to manage. They break it down, reduce uncertainty where possible, and accept it where necessary. This creates a different response to opportunity. Instead of avoiding uncertain outcomes, they evaluate them. The decision is not emotional, it is structured. There is also a strong connection to delayed gratification. Many wealth-building actions do not produce immediate results. They require time, iteration, and persistence. People who consistently find ways to get rich are more comfortable operating in this delayed feedback loop. They do not need constant reinforcement to continue. They are willing to invest effort without immediate validation because they understand the structure behind the outcome. Another defining trait is their focus on scalability. They naturally move toward actions that can grow beyond linear limits. Instead of asking, how much can I earn from this? They ask, can this expand? This shift changes behavior. It leads them toward systems, assets, and processes that can operate without constant input. Over time, this creates compounding effects. Small decisions begin to scale. There is also a psychological pattern related to ownership. These individuals tend to move from participation to control. They may start within existing systems, but they look for ways to own part of the structure, whether it's a business, a process, or an asset. Ownership changes the nature of income. It shifts from fixed to variable, from limited to expandable. This shift is not accidental. It is intentional. Another key trait is tolerance for iteration. Most wealth-building paths involve failure, adjustment, and repeated attempts. People who succeed in this area do not interpret failure as a stopping point. They interpret it as feedback. This reduces emotional resistance. Instead of avoiding failure, they move through it. Each iteration refines their understanding of what works. There is also a difference in how they process information. They tend to filter aggressively. Not all information is treated equally. They focus on what is actionable, what is relevant, and what can be applied. This prevents overload. In a world full of data, the ability to ignore irrelevant input becomes a strength. It allows them to act while others remain in analysis. Another subtle but powerful trait is their relationship with time. They view time not just as something to spend, but as something to allocate strategically. They are more conscious of where their attention goes and what it produces. This creates a feedback loop. Activities that generate value are reinforced. Activities that do not are reduced or eliminated. Over time, this alignment increases efficiency. There is also a social dimension. People who consistently find ways to get rich understand the role of networks, but not in a superficial way. They are not just collecting contacts. They are building functional relationships. They connect with individuals who operate in systems they want to understand or enter. This is not manipulation. It is alignment. They position themselves in environments where opportunity is more likely to appear. Another important factor is emotional detachment from outcomes. This does not mean they do not care. It means they are not controlled by immediate results. When an idea does not work, they adjust rather than react. This stability allows them to continue operating in uncertain environments without losing direction. There is also a pattern of internal validation. While external success is visible, the decision-making process is internally driven. They do not rely heavily on approval to act. This allows them to move before something is widely accepted. In many cases, this is where opportunity exists, before it becomes obvious. Interestingly, people who consistently build wealth often redefine what rich means. It is not just about accumulation. It is about control, over time, decisions, and environment. This redefinition influences behavior. They are not just chasing numbers. They are building structures that support a certain way of living. However, this pattern is not without trade-offs. The focus required to identify and act on opportunities can reduce attention in other areas. Relationships, rest, and balance can be affected if not managed intentionally. The same drive that creates growth can also create imbalance. There is also the risk of over-optimization. When everything is evaluated for its potential value, it can shift how experiences are perceived. Not every moment needs to produce an outcome. Maintaining a boundary between strategic thinking and simple presence becomes important. Another challenge is perception from others. People who operate this way may be seen as overly focused on money or constantly calculating. But this interpretation often misses the underlying structure. It is not just about money. It is about understanding systems and positioning within them. From a psychological perspective, this behavior reflects a combination of pattern recognition, strategic thinking, and emotional regulation. It is not a single trait. It is a system of traits that interact. Each one supports the others. Together, they create a framework that makes opportunity more visible and more actionable. Over time, this framework becomes automatic. The individual no longer needs to consciously apply each principle. They simply see the world through a lens of potential and structure. Opportunities are not created out of nothing. They are recognized and acted upon. Ultimately, people who always find ways to get rich are not operating with a completely different world. They are operating with a different model of the same world. They see systems where others see situations. They see leverage where others see limits. And they see opportunity where others are still deciding whether it's possible. Because wealth, at its core, is not just about resources. It's about how you interpret what's already there and what you choose to do with it.